Hi, I am Demi. Today we'll continue our talk about Les Miserables and the not-so-miserable world of Victor Hugo. Despite Hugo's smooth personal life, France remained turbulent. In 1830, when Hugo was 28, the people could no longer endure the conservative and authoritarian Bourbon monarchy. The July Revolution broke out, forcing Charles X to abdicate. Eugene Delacroix's famous painting, Liberty Leading the People, depicts the July Revolution. The Constitutionalists then chose Louis-Philippe as the King of the French, establishing the July monarchy. At its inception, the July monarchy still faced sharp social contradictions. In 1832, France experienced the June Rebellion, led by young aristocratic students who supported republicanism. Although this rebellion was relatively small, 93 deaths, 291 injuries, and over 1,500 imprisonments, Hugo's detailed depiction in Les Miserables brought it worldwide fame. Hugo supported the July Revolution, seeing it as a significant step toward a freer and more democratic society. In 1841, at 39, Hugo was elected to the French Academy. As a literary giant, Hugo once again gained the favor of the reigning emperor. In 1845, at 43, King Louis-Philippe I made Hugo a noble peer, allowing him to enter the House of Peers. Despite Hugo's smooth sailing, France faced another storm. Louis-Philippe, initially chosen as a compromise leader, quickly became unpopular. In 1848, when Hugo was 46, social discontent peaked, leading to the February Revolution. The July monarchy was overthrown, and the Second French Republic was established, with Napoleon I's nephew, Louis Napoleon, elected as its president. Hugo, a staunch Republican, supported Louis Napoleon's presidential bid. After the February Revolution, Hugo was elected as a member of the National Assembly of the Second French Republic. He became a firm supporter of democracy, opposing autocracy and advocating for the abolition of the death penalty, educational reforms, and social welfare improvements. However, Louis Napoleon disappointed Hugo. In 1851, Louis Napoleon declared himself Emperor Napoleon III, restoring the monarchy. Despite nearing 50, Hugo joined the opposition against Napoleon III's coup. As a result, he had to flee France, living in exile in Brussels, Jersey, and Guernsey. Hugo's exile lasted nearly 20 years. Although more challenging than a stable life, exile wasn't too harsh. Despite leaving France, Hugo continued to earn considerable income through his literary works and publications. His books, The Punishments, Les Miserables, and The Toilers of the Sea, were completed and published during his exile, not only supporting his livelihood but also enhancing his international fame. Les Miserables alone earned his publisher over 500,000 francs in its first 6 years. Hugo's era saw frequent changes of monarchs, but regardless of the current ruler, Hugo remained highly regarded, except by Napoleon III. Napoleon III did try to win Hugo over, issuing an amnesty in 1859, inviting him back to France. However, the proud Hugo, unwilling to compromise his principles, refused the offer. In 1870, the Franco-Prussian War broke out, France was defeated, and Napoleon III was captured and deposed. At 68, Hugo finally saw his enemy's downfall and returned to Paris, still occupied by Prussian forces, receiving a hero's welcome. Soon after Hugo's return, in 1871, the Parisian working class staged an uprising, establishing the first proletarian government in human history, the Paris Commune. This regime was short-lived, lasting only 2 months. Though Hugo opposed the Commune's violence, he sympathized with the workers' plight and supported their struggle for rights. His ambiguous stance on the Commune led to some controversy. In the last decade of Hugo's life, France finally became what Hugo had hoped for. In 1875, France adopted a constitution, establishing a parliamentary republic with a separation of powers among the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. By the time of Hugo's death, France had not fully recovered from the Franco-Prussian War, but was showing strong performance in politics, economy, military, and colonial expansion, ranking third in Europe, only behind the German Empire and the United Kingdom. Globally, France was the second largest colonial empire, second only to Britain. However, Hugo did not support colonialism. When Hugo turned 80, all of France celebrated, with crowds passing by his home, cheering under his windows for hours, giving Hugo a near-state funeral treatment while still alive. When Hugo died in 1885, despite his request for a simple pauper's funeral, his coffin was placed under the Arc de Triomphe, and the mass lasted almost all night. It can be said that Hugo, like all conscientious left-wing intellectuals, dedicated his life to pursuing freedom, equality, democracy, human rights, and social justice, opposing dictatorship and oppression. He supported social reforms, European peace and unity, and international cooperation, while opposing violence and war. Although Hugo lived in turbulent times, he was fortunate that a miserable life did not befall him. Yet with his genius storytelling ability, undiminished passion for writing, and fearless social engagement, he fully showcased his great conscience to the people, earning the love and respect of people in France and worldwide. Hugo's personality and life had many flaws, such as having many lovers and being mean, but we don't need to delve into these details. After all, a great person is still a great person. Finally, let's return to the stage production of Les Miserables. My friends and I loved Eponine the most, because she was smart and resilient, rebellious yet carefree, willing to sacrifice everything for love without expecting anything in return. Then, who is your favorite character? Thanks for watching. See you soon.